Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price right now as we are only halfway through the week. And check this out. There is so much to cover today. Talk about how we're trading this market. Today at noon, we shorted 3 altcoins. At least I took a short on 3 altcoins, which has hit all profit targets. And now I actually entered into a long position for Bitcoin at 29,560 because I want to make a very bold statement on this video today. And that's the fact that we could potentially have a higher low forming right now in the equity markets and in the cryptocurrency market based on the macro perspective, specifically the DXY closing a very bearish monthly candle last month. Could this just be a relief rally, higher low that's forming, and this could be the final opportunity to enter into positions below 30,000 before we see that $35,000 level? Let's talk about today. We'll also address the bears as always here on the Snipers channel. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this 4-dimensional content. So we haven't hit our first profit target at 29,750, but we may hit that while you're watching this video. I'll talk about why I decided to short altcoins today, but then take a long position on Bitcoin as it came down to test its weekly open, which right now the weekly open sits at 29,400 US dollars. There's a lot to talk about today on the chart, Snipers, so bear with me. But first and foremost, the range that Bitcoin is playing in right now has a support at this weekly open of 29,400. Hopefully by the time you're watching this video, we don't breach below 29,400, but I don't think that's likely. Oh, look, our long just hit its first profit target. I already have those orders in KuCoin, so we're good. And so we're right now testing this weekly open. We could break down further, but I felt the need to put this video out as equity markets just closed. And it looks like Bitcoin has a strong case to make to hold this weekly open. And the first confirmation that we need right now for Bitcoin to see some further upside is getting back above this previous weekly open, which we breached today at $30,293 on the dot. Our numbers are extremely accurate and important on this channel. Why is that number important? Well, our 4-hour candle right now is the first 4-hour candle fully below the previous weekly open. And so if we want to assume that we could just be seeing a potential higher low forming right now, but a continuation of this relief rally, and we can make that case because if we look at the DXY, we talked about this yesterday, this was all expected. It was testing its 50-day moving average for the first time since breaking out to 20-year highs. It was totally expected to see the DXY come up, and we're only halfway through the week, but that doesn't mean it's not going to get rejected soon to see further downside because it's yet to test this 20-week moving average, meaning that it still has room to go down, especially with the monthly chart printing a bearish monthly candle last month. And so if our thesis right now is that okay, the DXY potentially, at least in the immediate short term, could have potentially seen its high, that maybe now equities and the cryptocurrency markets could start to see some relief. And we're already seeing the early signs of that with Bitcoin moving above 30,000. Yes, we are back below 30,000 as I record this video, but check this out, Snipers. What's also strengthening this thesis that the DXY could see further downside is, I'm going to bring it back to you guys, the EURUSD chart. And we talked about this several weeks ago, but look how the EURUSD chart is now back above the low that was formed in 2020, holding itself above this low right now with this pullback. What we'd like to monitor for the EURUSD chart is this 1.06371 area that we hold above this level. And then if we see continued upside, remember the EURUSD chart has predicted the bottom for Bitcoin in the 2017 and 2020 cycles as it has reversed from its downtrend. And we are waiting to see whether or not this is the reversal of its recent downtrend, because if it is, it could indicate that 26,700 was the bottom for Bitcoin. But let's not just talk about whether this is the bottom for Bitcoin or not. Let's talk about the immediate short term. So there are some very important puzzle pieces outside of Bitcoin to cover before we wrap up with the Bitcoin chart. But look at the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart so far. This is also a very important puzzle piece for our Snipers because we broke down from 65,000 Satoshis, which was a major support level, and we've yet to come and test it as a resistance level, meaning that this could be an indicator of how much more fuel Bitcoin has left for this upside move, even if the bears expect further downside for Bitcoin and the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart because we could get rejected from 65,000 Satoshis. But the point is, in the immediate short term, we haven't broken our recent low. So one thing we want to monitor, the same way we want to monitor the EURUSD not breaking its 2020 low, is Ethereum to Bitcoin chart maintaining this higher low and not coming below the recent low, which the exact number to that is 59,793 Satoshis. And so far we haven't done that yet. So this could either be the pullback that we've been waiting for to then continue further up, or this could be an area where we all out break down. But so far it looks like, and this is why we took a long position on Bitcoin, that this is holding up so far, because look at the Ethereum to US dollar pairing, holding 1760. As a matter of fact, the candle low today was 1763, $3 shy of the extremely important level, which is exactly how we'd like to see it get tested. We don't want that important level to get breached. And so, seeing it reverse a couple bucks above that level is actually a bullish puzzle piece. Now, this is all extremely premature, snipers. By the time you're watching this video, we could have an all-out breakdown. Who knows? But I felt the need to get this video out because our short positions did really well early in the day, and then we took a long position, which you can see now has hit its first profit target for Bitcoin. So let's talk about Bitcoin. What's happening? Why are we seeing this push down right now? Well, we talked about this yesterday. Remember what happened to the NASDAQ? It came to test its previous monthly open and got rejected. You can't even see it on this chart anymore because it's a new month. But the point in which the NASDAQ started to pull back was at its monthly open. It rejected it. Is that a big deal? Well, not necessarily, because remember the 600-day moving average, snipers, where we were expecting the NASDAQ to potentially find a bottom. Now we are back at the 600-day moving average, camping out just like we did when we bottomed out in 2020. And that's something that's extremely bullish right now. So that's a very good thing for the bottom thesis. And then we'll wrap up and talk about Bitcoin right now and get into the micro time frame. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm, snipers, if you support this content. But let's just quickly get a summary of what our thesis has been that we've been following here on the channel. And that's the fact that when Bitcoin came to 26,700, because of what happened to Luna, it potentially could have formed a bottom. Why? Because that was a very psychological moment where there was a lot of fear in the market. We could look back a year from now and say, oh, remember when Luna bottomed out Bitcoin at 26,700? That storyline is still valid. And I was preaching this the day Bitcoin hit 26,700, and I got a lot of hate in the comments because I was starting to preach that maybe this is the bottom. We had a very high volume move on the weekly chart. That has indicated the bottom in the past. And that storyline right now, after 3 weeks, is still valid, right? We've never came back down to those Luna lows. We came just above 28,000, but the Luna lows were really below 28,000 US dollars. And so could we expect Bitcoin right now, while you're watching this video, to just break down from 28,000? No, that's why I'm confidently putting out this video saying that we did take a long position and we did buy this dip. That doesn't mean I'm right. That doesn't mean that I'm a genie. But what I am saying is in the immediate short term, it looks like we could at least see a bounce back above 30,000. But getting above that previous weekly open at 30,200 would be the first checkpoint that we need for Bitcoin right now. And we'd like to at least get that in this 4-hour candle that's about to close in 3 hours to show some strength. But right now, all it looks like is Bitcoin is coming down to test its weekly open from a major rally that recently happened. And you can see it's showing confluence with other parts in the market also being able to test important levels, like the S&P 500, for example. Just notice here, if we were to go on the daily chart, you can see it's also starting to pull back after seeing 3 days of upside, but we've yet to even come below the last green candle's low. We're just still forming a higher low, so it's inching its way up. Nothing to call a breakdown just yet. And so for Bitcoin, and I'll wrap up with this, snipers, inside of the range with a support at the weekly open at 29,400 and its current resistance we could call the monthly open right around 32,000 US dollars. I expect at least some sideways price action inside of this range for those that enter long positions below 30,000. I think that could work for a couple of days, at least until we get more answers. But I do not expect a full-on breakdown here. I think that what we're seeing, you can see that with the 6-hour volume, is the same amount of institutional sell pressure to equate to the amount of buy pressure that has also come in this range. And so nothing abnormal just yet, nothing to really go home and cry to grandma about, Bitcoin about to collapse. Not that type of move here from what we're seeing. And that's really the main point of this video. That's why we ended up taking a long position. We started to see the altcoins sell off, our shorts were hitting profits, and it just made sense to send out a long position. So here's what I'll say. For the micro, you guys get it. In the macro, here's the most important levels to watch. Bitcoin right now inside of the range. In the macro, this is a different range with a resistance of 35,000 to confirm a real reversal that could even lead to new all-time highs. That's 35,000. That's the big reversal point. That's the big resistance that we need to face. That's the bearish resistance that has been holding us down as well since we came below the 20-week moving average. And so that's the major level right now, still 35,000. And then our major support is 25,000. In the worst case scenario, there is a potential we can test 25,000. And the range is a very big range. Our previous weekly open is right in the middle of the range. And so it's not a surprise to see Bitcoin having some sideways fun inside of this range. And that's the time that the traders come in and take advantage of the volatility. And with that, I thank each and every one of you for being tuned into the Snipers channel. I'm still in Cincinnati, Ohio. I will be back home very soon. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this content, and I'll see you next time. Snipers